If people think I have a perfectly organized home, well, here's proof that I don't. But it's also proof that I've done a lot of living. I have avoided this project for years, not because it's physically demanding, but because photos are never just photos. They are who we were, memories of days gone by, who we loved, who we lost, and occasionally hairstyles we should have lost sooner. Today I'm sorting through a lifetime of photos, and I have a feeling that this is going to be more than an organizing project. I can declutter a closet. I can donate kitchen items, and I can even get rid of a throw pillow or two without too much emotional damage. But this is different, because when you sort photos, you are sorting your life. You see yourself at 22 and you think, oh dear, you have no idea. You see your children when they were little. You see people who are no longer here. You see houses you lived in, friendships, seasons of life. And suddenly what was supposed to be a simple organizing project turns into a full documentary of your existence. No wonder we shove the boxes back in the closet. We have to expect feelings to surface, some beautiful and some heavy. Fear of those feelings has kept you from starting. Make a plan for when they show up. It's okay to cry, or to take a walk, or to eat chocolate. Stop for the day if you need to. Just don't let fear of emotion keep you from your memories. I think it's safe to say most people our age have boxes like these, or bins, or drawers. And every time we see them, we think, I really should deal with that. It becomes this quiet background guilt. But here's what I'm realizing. The photos aren't the problem. The expectation that we must perfectly archive our entire lives, that's the problem. Somehow we decided they must be sorted perfectly, they must go into albums, they must be digitized, they must be preserved for future generations. And while all of that is lovely, it's also very overwhelming. So it's easier to do nothing, but nothing feels much heavier and guilt-laden than it needs to be. As I sit here surrounded by decades of life, a few things are becoming clear. First, I do not need to keep every single photo to remember my life. If there are 14 nearly identical Christmas morning pictures, I don't need to keep all 14. One will do. Second, not every blurry photo is a historical artifact. We're not documenting for the Smithsonian. We were living. Third, it's okay if my system is simple. It doesn't have to be color-coded and digitized and backed up in 3 clouds and indexed by year and emotional significance. This is not a museum, it's my life. If you're sitting there thinking, I have those boxes too, here's what I'm doing, and it actually feels manageable. Phase 1 is called the gutter sort. I'm not organizing, I am reducing. Moving fairly quickly and creating 4 piles. Keepers, high-quality photos of important people and events. Maybes, if I hesitate more than a few seconds, it goes here. Giveaways, which are photos someone else might treasure more than I do. And nopes, the blurry, the duplicated, the accidental finger across the lens shots. I'm being kind but honest. If it's blurry, duplicated, and doesn't mean anything to me anymore, it can go. We're not erasing history, more like curating it. If you don't remember where it was or why you took it, it probably doesn't need to stay. As long as it's not the only photo of someone important, you can probably let it go. And then there's phase 2, which is choosing your system. And once I'm down to my keepers, I'm choosing to keep it simple. I'm sorting by life stage. Growing up, my first marriage, then my son Nathan, my second marriage, then my daughter Michaela, and then the last decade of my life. Later, I may sort by decade or approximate year, but first things first. This doesn't have to be perfect. None of it has to be perfect. I set a timer for 20 minutes, not an entire day, not a weekend, 20 minutes, and then a break. And when the timer goes off, I stop. Even if I'm mid-pile, this is a long game. I get up, I walk around, I regroup. And if I want to continue, I set it again. Although I have currently laid out all of these on my bed, and I will need to sleep somewhere tonight. I guess I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. As far as digitizing goes, that's not a today problem. I'm not turning this into a tech project. If I digitize, it will be gradual, one stack at a time. It's not urgent. Memories don't expire. The surprising part is this. It doesn't feel as sad as I feared it would. Of course, there are bittersweet moments, but mostly it feels like honoring the fact that I lived, that my life was full and still is. Not perfect, but there were certainly perfect moments. I think we can all relate to that. And maybe that's why I don't have a perfectly organized home, because instead of some sort of showpiece for a home, I did build a life. And sometimes that life ends up in boxes on the floor. And these boxes don't mean I failed at organizing. They mean I was busy living, and maybe the goal isn't to perfectly preserve every moment. Maybe it's to keep the ones that tell the story and gently release the rest. Because our homes don't need to look like archives either. They need to feel like lives that were fully lived. If you have photo boxes somewhere in your house, tell me in the comments, do you plan on organizing them? And if so, what process will you use? And if you need permission to keep one box and let a few others go after sorting, consider this your permission. Thanks for spending this time with me. I'm so glad that you did. Take care and have a great week. All right, I'm going back in. Wish me luck.